Hello and welcome to the Economy This Week series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu and today's session is about important economic events which had happened in the past week, and this session is important for your GES 3 perspective. So as you already know that from world perspective, especially in the world economy, a lot had happened because this time we have seen that USA has announced reciprocal tariff on various countries including India, and those tariffs were very high in percentage. So this is a setback for the USA also and for the other countries also, because the trade, and if we are talking about the free trade system, if we are talking about the smooth system of the trade between different countries, that is going to be difficult because tariffs are really higher for the low income countries. So let's move towards to the points of discussion part. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the India's farm mechanization, then we are going to discuss about the BIMSTEC, and then we are going to discuss about the capital goods revolution. We'll also briefly talk about the Trump's reciprocal policies, that how it is going to impact to the entire world. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the India's farm mechanization. So here we first topic would be related to the capital goods revolution. So this is the news which we are going to cover up in today's session, and this is the news we have. And if you'll see that what is happening here. So first of all, we should know that what is the news about. So there was a report in PIB. In that report, it has connected India's capital goods revolution to the Make in India, that how Make in India has contributed to the capital goods revolution, catalyzing domestic production and technological innovation. Since pandemic, also we have focusing a lot on Atmanirbhar Bharat, and India is also emphasizing on the domestic production of various goods, and so that's why it is also one of the initiatives that India should become Atmanirbhar Bharat in terms of the capital goods production also. And here what PIB has termed it as a capital goods revolution. So let's move towards to the know that what is the capital goods. So according to the Ministry of Heavy Industries, heavy engineering and machine tool sector comprises capital goods industry, and we'll also discuss about the subsectors related to the heavy engineering and machine tools. So India has a lot of capacity to work into this direction, and India is playing a critical role, and especially this particular goods industry is playing a critical role in India's GDP. So we'll also discuss its contribution to the India's GDP. So India's capital goods sector is experiencing significant attention due to its critical role in industrial growth and economic development. And this sector encompasses electrical equipment, machinery, construction, which are essential for countries' infrastructure development. And according to Indian Electrical and Electronics Manufacturing Association, the electrical equipment industry witnessed consistent double-digit growth in power equipment, particularly transmission equipment, transformers, driven by domestic demand and international market expansion. So as we are becoming self-dependent into this kind of the thing, so we are not just improving our domestic condition, we are also contributing to the other markets of the world also. So our export condition is also happening good in this area. So if we'll talk about the construction equipment, then India's rank is that India is the third largest market in terms of the construction equipments, and government initiatives have been instrumental in bolstering capital goods sector. So according to the Ministry of Heavy Industry, it has launched the several policies which has boosted the domestic production, reduced reliance on imports. And we had already know about the Make in India campaign, which talks about that how to produce things domestically. So it seeks increase the manufacturing sector contribution to the GDP, generate employment and improve technological capabilities. And it will also test that how capable we are, how competitive we are according to the different kinds of the countries. And then the capital goods sector is crucial to India's economic strategy, supporting large-scale manufacturing and infrastructure projects. So this time also, so many IMF the world bodies, especially the financial bodies, economic bodies, had suggested that India needs to improve in its manufacturing sector. So this is one of the initiative to improve the manufacturing sector. And as you already know that with rapid urbanization, extensive infrastructure development and strong government support, the sector is poised to drive sustainable industrial growth. So that should be sustainable for the future generation also. And here we have to be also be careful regarding that how it is becoming pocket friendly, also environment friendly. So that's why with the initiative of all these things, how India is stationing itself in a global market. So here we are going to discuss, this chart is about that what is the terms of production we have in crores. So we'll discuss that how subsector of capital goods are performing. So here we can see that as per the present estimate, the capital goods industry contribute around 1.9% of the GDP. So this is the present contribution we have. And the heavy engineering and machine tool sector capital good industry consists of the following major subsectors. So as I have already told you that we are also going to discuss about the subsectors. So we have dies, molds, press tools, plastic machinery, earth moving, mining machinery, metallurgical machinery, textile machinery, process plant equipment, printing machinery and food processing machinery. And due to catalytic effect of Ministry of Heavy Industries intervention, the production of capital goods sector has increased, and this is the amount here we had in 2014 and 15, which was 2,29,533 crore, and right now it has almost doubled, which has become 4,29,001 crore in 2023 and 4. So within a decade we can see this much of the progress. So here we can see that how subsectors are performing, and this is in terms of the crore. So machine tools, here we can see that it has been consistently increasing. Then if we'll talk about the dies, molds and press tools, so it is also consistently increasing. So sometimes in 2021 and 22 it was less. In this period also 2020 and 2021 it was less because of the pandemic, you can say that, and because the trade was stopped because of the pandemic. And textile machinery also, here we can see that in 2019 and 20 we were around 5,355 crore. Right now we are more than 14,000. This is a very significant progress. Then printing machinery, from 12,000 we have come to the 23,000. Then earth moving mining machinery, 31,000 to 73,000. Plastic processing machinery, then 2,300 to 4,300. Food processing machinery, 75 to 7,000 to 13,000. And process plant equipment, 29,000 to 27,000. So in only one area we have saw the decrease, otherwise in every area we have seen the increase in production. So we'll discuss in terms of exports that how we are performing in terms of exports. So here we have data in terms of exports. So here you can see in terms of the crore. So if we'll talk about the machine tools, so in 2019 and 20, which was pre-pandemic level, it was 768 crore. Right now it has become 1659 crore. Dies, molds and press tools, 1138 to 1900. Then textile machinery, 2500 to 4400. Then printing machinery, 1200 to 2300. Earth moving and mining machinery, 3500 to 5800. Plastic processing machinery, 335 to 2,154. This is a major change we can see here. And then food processing machinery, 2,737 to 4,148. And process plant equipment, 8,000 to 9,000. So here in each sector we can see that there is a significant increase. So we are increasing in terms of export also day by day. So this is the overview. So what are the favorable environment we have in terms of that why our export is increasing? So if you'll see that India is providing a favorable environment. So the policy environment here, if we'll see, no industrial license is required for the sector. So that's why we can see that there is a significant increase in terms of the exports. Then FDI up to 100% permitted on automatic route through RBI, except from the countries having the land borders with India. Quantum of payment for technology transfer, design, drawing, royalty to the foreign collaborator is not restricted. There is no restriction on imports and exports. The Union Budget 2025 and 6 proposes to add 35 additional capital goods for EV battery manufacturing and 28 additional capital goods for mobile phone battery manufacturing to the list of exempted capital goods, and it will also boost manufacturing of what you can say lithium ion battery, which is very much useful for the mobile phones also and electric vehicles also. So here we can see that how India is providing favorable environment for the capital goods industry. So that's why we are calling it as a capital goods revolution. Now we are going to discuss different topic, which is the BIMSTEC. So this is, we have 6 BIMSTEC. So we are going to discuss about the 6 BIMSTEC, and we are also going to discuss that what is the BIMSTEC. So basic facts and idea about the BIMSTEC. So as you already know that PM Modi has visited Thailand regarding the 6th BIMSTEC summit. So we are going to discuss about that. So earlier we have this 4th BIMSTEC summit in Kathmandu, and this is after the Kathmandu 4th BIMSTEC summit. We are meeting physically for the first time, and in 2022 we have this Colombo BIMSTEC summit, but that was in a virtual format. But this time we are meeting virtually, so that's why this is very much important, and the theme is very much important, which is prosperous, resilient and open BIMSTEC. In short, pro BIMSTEC. So this would be very much useful for your prelims examination, because they can ask questions, especially in state prelims, they can ask themes related to it. So you should remember prosperous, resilient and open. In short, pro BIMSTEC. So we'll discuss some facts about the BIMSTEC. So BIMSTEC includes countries of the Bay of Bengal region and seeks to act as a bridge between South and Southeast Asia, and originally formed as BISTEC, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand Economic Cooperation in 1997, and it became BIMSTEC after Myanmar joined it, and later Nepal and Bhutan also joined it. So it received a charter in the 2022 Colombo summit, and after that all member countries had ratified it. So we'll discuss some more facts about the BIMSTEC. So according to the BIMSTEC official website, currently it is a home to 1.8 billion people, which is 22% of the global population, and its combined gross domestic product is 3.6 trillion US dollar, and the main aim of the regional group was to promote economic cooperation between countries bordering the Bay of Bengal. So this is the main aim of the BIMSTEC. Then here we are also going to discuss that on which sector BIMSTEC is going to focus. So we have 6 sectors. So in 1997 we have this trade, technology, energy, transport, tourism and fisheries, and it has expanded 2008 in other areas, and till 2021 there was a different kind of reorganization, but right now they had divided that each country will focus on each sector or 1 or 2 sectors. So currently India is focusing on security along with the counter-terrorism, transnational crime and disaster management and energy. So India has been allotted these kind of the departments. Now we'll discuss that what is the significance of BIMSTEC we have. So BIMSTEC significance we can connect to the India's neighborhood policies, because all these countries, most of these countries are immediate neighbor to the India. So it enhances India's neighborhood policies, and it creates an environment to have more cooperation with each other, and it also creates a separate base for India where India can invest, where India can interact, and there are new platforms open for the Indians also for those countries. So new global cooperation is expected from the BIMSTEC. Now we are going to discuss about the India's farm mechanization. So most of the time we comes with a agricultural topic, because as you already know that India is agriculture based country, so it's very important that how technology and how mechanization are helping India's farm sector. So that's why its overview is needed, so that's why we have come with this topic. So this is the news we have: how India's farm mechanization is moving beyond tractors. So earlier you already know that we used to plow from the bullock cart, but when the tractor came, it has become a very much helpful for the agriculture, especially country like India, which has agricultural base. So tractor helped us in a many ways. So we are also going to discuss about that, how tractors are useful for us, and also the machines which are related to tractors are also going to be useful for us. And so we have to work on to all those machines, and we have to focus on the machinery related to the farm sector, so that there will be the smooth functioning of the farm sector of this country. So tractors replace the bullocks in the agriculture by performing tasks like plowing, harrowing, sowing, transportation more efficiently. And here we can see the efficiency from with a pair of bullock cart. It provides 1 horsepower, which most tractors in India deliver 41 to 50 horsepower. So there is a difference of what you can say 40 times because of this tractor. And here we can see that how mechanization is making human works easy. It saves time, it saves labor also. So here we can see that how it is handling heavier equipment and larger leads to great ease and productivity. So here we have increased our production and productivity because of these mechanization. So we'll also discuss that how India is moving beyond tractors. So the gateway of mechanization comes from the tractor. We already know this. But here we have some more equipment such as combines, we have subsoilers, we have different mechanization which is helping the farm industry. So here, if you'll see that India's tractor market sells around 9 lakh units annually, worth over 60,000 crore. And a tractor replaces the bullocks in farming. We already know that, offering 41 to 50 horsepower compared to 1 horsepower from the bullock pair. So if we'll see the others effectiveness, so farm machinery market growing rapidly. So tractor, we already know that. So tractor powered implements like rotavators are becoming widespread. Rotavators alone account 2 lakh units per year, worth rupees 2000 crore. Then broader farm machinery market excluding tractor is now 10,000 crore, growing faster than the tractors. Includes tillage, harvesting, transplanting, spraying, loading and more. So major brands like Shaktiman, Sonalika, M&M, John Deere, Kubota are the leading, and they are making a lot of money because they are producing different kind of mechanization, which is very much helpful in the tillage, harvesting, transplanting, spraying, loading, transportation. So here we can see that how with the help of tractors and with the help of other equipments, our agriculture is mechanized. So machines replacing labor. So we have mechanized combined harvesters which are replacing manual harvesting and threshing. And if we'll do manual harvesting and threshing, it will take whole day. But if with the help of combine, it we can do it in 30 minutes. So the day is saved, the labor is saved. Then rich rice transplanters, both walk behind and ride on, are also gaining popularity because it is also saving time and also what you can say human labor and manufacturing expansion. So companies like Mahindra and Mahindra are investing in dedicated farm machinery plants. Example, Pithampur in MP. India's farm machinery market has potential to catch up global trends where machinery dominates over tractors. So here we can see that as we already discussed about that, agriculture is overpopulated and so many disguised employment is happening in the field of agriculture. So we need to save labor from the agriculture and we need to invest those labor in other sector where it is lacking. So here we can see that how custom hiring is helping us. So if you'll see the custom hiring, so high cost of machines, we cannot afford, individual cannot afford high cost of machine. So there is a custom hiring method where one individual have this capacity, that individual is taking that machine and that individual is giving that machines to the others for the rent basis. So here, if we have read that particular article, in that article they had given example of Raju Solanki, who has combined harvesters, and that he rents to the individuals, and they rent it for 2 or 3 days, and they did their work and they returned it to. So in that way, what we can see, that you don't have to invest a lot of money to purchasing any kind of machines, but with the help of rent you can easily do farming activities in your fields. So this is also one of the thing, that custom hiring, which in which owners rents machine to the farmer, is growing day by day, and it is mechanizing India's farm sector. Then if we'll come to the conclusion, so the conclusion is that with the help of mechanization, which is moving beyond tractors, the agriculture is becoming easy. And as you already know, that government is also talking about that, how to introduce mechanization, how to introduce AI, how to introduce different kind of technology in agriculture, so that the agriculture can become easy, the agriculture can become smoothened. Now, this is a very serious question in front of us, that with the help of mechanization, many jobs are also going. So, as I have already told you, because agriculture is overpopulated, so we need to invest all those labors into other sectors. So, it is the government's responsibility that other sectors should be ready and should be demanding that if we are freeing all these labors, then they should be accommodated in different sectors, so that livelihood should not be compromised. So here unemployment can be also tackled off. Now we are also going to discuss about the Trump's reciprocal tariffs. As you already know, that Trump has reciprocal tariff policies, and it has implemented to different countries. Cambodia has given a harsher tariff. India has also given 26 to 27% of the tariff. So many economists are discussing that what would be the future and what country should do. So the country should come for the negotiation, and with the help of negotiation, might be the USA will decrease the tariff. Also, if there is not negotiation happening in that sector, the country should look to another market, and they had to import their products to that market. So the more what you can say, a combination, more communication required into the world economy, so that we could not lead to the world where the countries are smacking each other's the tariff. And in this kind of environment, the free and fair trade is not possible. So we need to come to a conclusion where we should not smack each other's tariff, where we should promote free and fair trade, and we should also promote that how the different kind of resources can be utilized from different countries, and if any country is rich into that, so that should not be punishing. So we need not to make the global trade as a punishment. Now we are going to discuss about the practice question for prelims. Which of the following best describes the term custom hiring as mentioned in the context of Indian agriculture? Hiring farm laborers from other states during peak season, renting farm machinery from government owned centers, individual owners providing machinery service to other farmers for a fee, purchasing farm equipment, or deferred payment through cooperatives. This is very easy one, we just have discussed. Then we are also going to discuss about which of the following best describes the theme of the 6th BIMSTEC summit held in Bangkok in 2025. So it is basically asking the theme towards a common future, sustainable and secure, prosperous, resilient and open BIMSTEC, enhancing connectivity for shared prosperity, to strengthening regional partnership in South Asia. Then we are going to discuss about the third question. India rank at which position globally in terms of the construction equipment market size? First, second, third, fifth. This also we had discussed, so you can answer into the comment section. And for the mains perspective, you can prepare this question for you, that how reciprocal tariff by the USA is going to impact India. So this would be your mains practice question. I hope you like this session. If you have any queries later in this session, kindly ask into the comment section. Thank you. Have a nice day.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.